Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I am plumbobd and today we are building the saddest home for the saddest family I've ever built in The Sims 4. Now these are Liberty Lee's parents. If you don't know who she is, I will make sure to pop her picture in the screen up now. She's basically a base game pre-made townie that comes in your game, and she has no family when you actually start your save file, and that's kind of my goal with this rebuild series. I try to put at least some family members of each of the pre-made townies in a different world. So for example, we've done how is she called? We've done Summer Holiday for Oasis Springs, and now I'm doing Liberty Leaf for Sequoia, so I can imagine that she used to live in Sequoia and then she just moved to Willow Creek, which is probably not that far away. You can tell that the assets that have been used for Sequoia and Willow Creek are pretty much the same. But yeah, so she is kinda a geek, and she's living now with her roommates, which are Summer Holiday and Travis Scott. I will probably put Travis Scott family somewhere at some point, but the next world we're gonna rebuild after San Sequoia is gonna be Del Sol Valley, so I don't really think Travis Scott does fit the Del Sol Valley vibes. Maybe he does, but I don't know, like the character that I imagine as Travis Scott does not really fit well with Del Sol Valley, so it's gonna be a work in progress, we will see. But anyway, why is this the saddest build I've ever built in The Sims 4? Because the woman that you see standing in front of this house has actually just become a widow. Her husband just died, so that's Liberty Lee's father, which I really hope that Liberty Lee will have the sentiment, or rather the moodlet, of her father dying, because the way that I created this Sims is just I went into the BFF household create a sim, and I just added the parents through genetics, and then I moved the parents away. So I think this should technically work, like they are actually Liberty Lee's parents. You will see it in her family tree. It's not a made up thing. But yeah, I hope she does. But yeah, this man just, the husband of this woman just died, and he died of old age, which actually was quite a difficult thing for me to do, to make happen, because like I have some mods. I have MCC, and also I have the UI cheats extension mod. So what I originally did when these two people moved into this slot, I just I raised the bar of the husband, the age bar of the husband, up to the maximum. Like I don't remember how many days you're an elder for, but I just put like 70, 90 just to make sure. His bar was glowing, but he was not dying at all. He wasn't showing signs of dying, so I had to find another way. So that's when I downloaded MCC, because I know in that way you can make Sims die of various things, like all the deaths that are available in The Sims 4. You can technically make your Sims die from those. So I just cheated him dying of old age. And you know, with like MCC, they usually just turned into a ghost and they simply die. There's no animation for that, nothing. But the issue was that my sim just disappeared without a tombstone, and a tombstone was kind of an essential part of this build, because you will see I put the tombstone underneath the love tree from My Wedding Stories. You can see it at the moment. I'm just going around with some bushes around that tree. That tree is supposed to represent love. You can see that it's kind of like two people hugging in that tree, in the trunk of the tree. Is it called trunk? I'm not even sure. But the gravestone was kind of an essential part of this build, because also in the thumbnail I want her to be swinging on a set of swings without next to her husband's gravestone. So that was kind of essential for me to have a tombstone. So MCC did not work. Also, with my sim just vanishing into thin air, I could find him just by going back into manage worlds and then looking through the manage household section, and there I could find the husband. I tried to merge the households again. I tried to retrieve in any way I could the tombstone. It was just not feasible. So what I had to do was cheat this woman's flower arranging skill up to the maximum. I also had to, through the organized debug mod, grab a death flower. I had to make a flower arrangement and then sent it with a death flower and then gift it to the husband, who smelled it and then finally died. Because if you didn't know, that's a kind of a nice cheat you can use. Like, if you have some enemies, you can just, if you have a high enough flower arranging skill, you can send your flower arrangements with some death flower, and if they smell it, they instantly age up to the next kind of age level, age phase. So if they are a young adult, they turn into an adult. If they are an adult, they turn into an elder. And if they are an elder, they just die. So that's how I made it happen, and it took me quite a long time. But now we are building the house. So the house, as I mentioned, was one of the main focuses for me was to have a swing set next to this love tree where the husband was buried. And since this woman now has a high enough flower arranging skill, I just made her kind of very crafty, very like, she has a green thumb, she loves flower arranging, she loves gardening, she has some chickens, she also does cross stitching, she does it all. But I think just in their life she was a stay-at-home mom, and now they don't have much money left, so that's gonna be a problem for this family, because as you can see, I cheated the money. So now I think they are left with around 11,000 simoleons, and she does not work. She might gain some money here and there through plumbobd and selling stuff, her crafts and her collectibles and the things she gardens and her flower arrangements, but she definitely does not have a salary or a retirement check like her husband did. So this is gonna be interesting for you if you decide to play with this family, because they will be struggling for money. They have a huge house. I mean, it's not super huge, but it's very detailed, so the price of the house is quite expensive, so the weekly bills will be also quite expensive, and you will have to find a way to make this poor woman survive. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So this woman, I do not remember her name, I'm sorry. She is very into gardening, very into flower arranging. She has some chickens just to keep her company. Maybe she has just bought them. And yeah, I still have to make her have friends, but I will figure out the save file once I actually finish rebuilding the whole world of Sequoia. The husband, I think he used just to be a salary person, which is one of the careers that comes with Snowy Escape, which actually might be the only career that comes with the Snowy Escape expansion pack. So that's what he did as a job, and the reason why he died while Liberty Lee was still so young, because I think she's just at the beginning of her young adult life. In my opinion, it's just that the father was, or actually also the mother, they had Liberty when they were actually very, very old, and that's basically it. Maybe we can also pretend that they tried to conceive for a long time, but they just couldn't, and that finally Liberty came like a blessing from above. They love Liberty so much and they want the best for her, but that's why the father died, and that's also why when I will go around the save file and fix everybody, I will also portray that the mother, so this woman, is also about to die. Maybe she does not have a glowing bar, but you know, she might just have, I don't know, she might be quite a few days into her elderness, whatever. Talking a little bit about the build, because I've spent the past 10 minutes without saying anything about the build. This is a classic craftsman style type of build, which, in case you don't know what a craftsman style build is, that's kind of, imagine some kind of like fisherman cottage, not cottage, some kind of fisherman hut. That would be the best way that I could describe what a craftsman style house is, and it's the typical way, or like it's the typical building style of the Sims 4 Growing Together. So like all the houses that are built in this neighborhood that tend to be kind of like suburban-y, craftsman style, and stuff like that. So that's what I tried to make. It was kind of a way to make the build blend into the world. I went for this kind of cool red siding because I had just made a blue siding house, and I know that blue is probably like what we think most about a craftsman's, what the color that we think most about when we think about a craftsman style build. But I just wanted to have kind of a different vibe, because also I had just built a blue craftsman style, you know, if for my for my two partners in life, partners in crime build, which, in case you haven't watched it, I will link it for you in the corner of the screen now. But yeah, so I had just built it, so I wanted to build something different, so I have built the house in this color, and also I tried to put a lot of detail in this house, which is something that I tend not to do, but I just wanted to tell a story with this build. And you know that when I go around the world, once I finished it and I fix it, I try to delete as much detail as I can without compromising the look of the build, just for like my personal playability of the game, because you know, the more items you add into a house, the more laggy your game gets, and the Sims 4 is actually already quite a taxing game on your computer. So especially if it's a build I'm not gonna play in, I will probably try not to put so much detail on especially on the exterior of the house, because that's what your game loads, even if you are not in that house, but if you are in the neighborhood, it's what your game loads. So I will try to delete as much as the outdoor furniture as I can. But yeah, so another thing that this build about this build generally is that this recording that you are seeing is my first attempt at building this house. There has actually been a second attempt because I don't know how that happened. I am pretty sure that I always hit save and exit when I exit my game, because it's just like muscle memory, just what comes natural to me. And when I went today back into the game to take screenshots for the end of this build and also for my Instagram post, I found out that somehow my build got not deleted, but it stopped at the build stage of the house. So like I only had an empty interior, I had the floor plan, empty interior, no landscaping, just like, you know, the tree and the bushes. Like I had to do it all over again, and thankfully I had the recordings and I could mirror it almost the exact way. But yeah, because with all the details I put into this house, I generally I could not make it again. Like by memory I could not make this house again. I knew generally what was inside, like I knew, for example, I used the vampire kitchen in green. I used, for example, the growing together couch, leather couch. Like I know mostly the items that I have used, but like decoration wise or like very detailed things I absolutely could not remember. So this is my first attempt at building this thing. Also the house you see on the gallery is technically my second attempt at building this house, because for example you will not see that nifty knitting cross stitch thing that's hanging on the wall that we have just placed, and that's because I could not find it a second time. I tried turning on and off organized debug, I tried filtering for build and buy, for debug and live edit objects. I also tried to filter for different packs because I'm pretty sure that comes from nifty knitting. If it doesn't, it could have been in cottage living, but definitely there are no other packs that are themed around cross stitching or knitting, or you know, like those kind of themes. So like it wasn't in either of those packs, so I could not find it. I just replaced it with a kids room stuff painting that kind of looks similar, but yeah, just know that the build you see on the gallery is more or less the same, just some details might differ. Now the room that we are building now is Liberty Lee's room, which is somewhat empty and also very different from the rest of the house, because as you probably know if you have watched my video of the BFF household, which at the moment is technically private, because in that voiceover it wasn't even a voiceover, it was just when I was still doing house tours and house tours only. Underneath my recording there was me talking on the phone with my boyfriend, so I had to private that video. I didn't really wanna record it again, so I just privated it. So if you have seen it, congrats. If you haven't, you will never see it again. But Liberty Lee in my save file is a geek, which is also quite a hippie girl. So the vibe of the room that I went for her was along these lines. So like the paranormal stuff back curtains and the kind of like the moon phases rug, the beanbag chair, stuff like that. Like, you know, I imagine this was her teen room, so like it was kind of mismatched. She was exploring her styles and she wasn't really sure of what she wanted or who she was. She was just trying to figure out herself, so her room is kind of a mismatch of things, but I think it just, like, you know, portrays more or less the vibe of who Liberty Lee is now as a young adult. The last room that we have furnished is the primary bedroom. You won't see me furnish the bathrooms and hallway because those are boring. Bathrooms are the same. I just, like, you know, put some extra decoration from the bathroom cutter kit, and I also in the hallway I just put kind of like a reading nook and some furniture to fill up the space. You know, you never know what to do with hallways. So you just fill them up. It's not interesting to look at, and I already had enough things to say in this video, or like to show you in this video. So this primary bedroom is the bedroom of the widow and the dead husband. It's kind of a nice primary bedroom, fits with the rest of the build. You know, it's kinda cottagey, but also I feel like I try to use as much craftsman style furniture as I could, while also trying to portray the image of a woman who's interested in gardening, which, you know, there's a very, very fine line between craftsman style and cottagecore. I try not to cross it, but yeah. Anyway, screenshots should be coming up very, very soon. Remember to comment, like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to be notified every time that I post. That really helps the channel out. Also follow me on all of my socials. Those will be linked in the description down below. I will catch you all in my next speed build. Goodbye!